Hey, welcome on in, you rascals. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. Your Miami Heat, they lose to the Los Angeles Lakers 130 to 120 to drop to 3-3 on the season. Lakers improved to 5-2. A different type of game for Miami. I think the big story out of this one, honestly, was just being unable to stop LA. Um, especially in the first half, and then especially when you got it close. Very much a game of runs, a game that took forever. There was a gazillion free throws, especially on Miami's side. So this was not the free flowing fun style that everybody's been raving about with the Miami Heat. This was more of a drive, get to the rim, um, get a bunch of free throws, and see who's left standing at the end. Some frustrating misses at the end as well. But you got to, you give Miami credit because the game, once again, a lot like it was in San Antonio, looked like it could have gotten ugly, and Miami was nearly able to fight all the way back. Now, unlike San Antonio, where they're able to grab the lead, this one, the closest they got was like within 2-3, and then just could never get enough stops to just put pedal to the metal, put the run together to get themselves the lead. I know I'm not listening to Erik Spoelstra after this one. I'm sure that's going to be one of his things. Like, yeah, if we could have just gotten one of those loose balls, one of those things to stop, that this would have been a different game. Not so. They're unable to get that done. And then, you had some some really surprising great performances by the Lakers. Jake LaRavia today, 25 points. He was impressive and efficient from the Lakers off the bench. He was 10 of 13, 25 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals. He was an absolute demon for the Lakers today off the bench. But probably the thing that's going to stand out about this game early is the play of Jaxson Hayes. And Spo obviously very frustrated in the early going of this game that he benched Kel'el Ware basically until the end of the third quarter. So Kel'el plays 5 minutes. Jaxson Hayes goes off. He's getting putbacks. He's hitting threes. And, Ware just hasn't brought that defensive intensity. Spo's got a lesson for him. Sit your ass down. Doesn't play him the rest of the half, and then he finally brings him back. And to be honest with you, he came back and he played pretty well. Kel'el was a big reason Miami was able to make it as close. Like they brought the gap much closer. They went into the half. They were down 14. They were able to shrink that basically in half, and then they started the fourth quarter, and Ware was playing really well, especially with Jović, who also was stinking up the joint. And they need those guys to be more impactful players on both ends. And I think you got a little bit of that in the fourth quarter of this game, especially Ware from a rim protection standpoint, which was good to see, because they just got to have it. It can't be these cases like this can't be a yo-yo thing with him where every single time you got to like spark him and jolt him and teach him a lesson to get him going. Like there is going to have to come a point where Ware is bringing it, because I really thought at the end of this game, I was like, they probably could use a little more size out there, like I think Spo ended up closing. He closed with his best players tonight, right? Like he closed with Wiggins, he closed with Bam, Davion, Pelle, and Jaime Jaquez, who Jaime balled out. Obviously, he was going to close. But I do think that either Davion or Pelle, even though they both played good games, and especially Pelle, I think you could have argued you probably could have closed with Pelle tonight instead of Davion. I think they would have been better served if they would have closed with a little more size to get some of these loose balls, to maybe end some possessions. But alas, they did not. There was a lot. It's not the reason they lost. There was, the first half. You're gonna look and kick yourself. Miami gave up 43 points in the first quarter, 77 points at halftime, and the Lakers were shooting 62% in the first half. Like, just could not stop anything. Luka Dončić was tremendous as well. Austin Reeves, pretty good today. But more on from a clutch standpoint. Neither of them were really good from three, but the Lakers were better from three than the Heat were. The Heat were an abysmal 9 of 33 today. The Lakers threw up more, but they still hit 6 more threes than the Heat did. So, it's while you look at it and be like, yeah, their percentage wasn't that great either, it's still they still were able to get up 13 more and end up hitting 6 more. And in a lot of ways you could look at that and say that was a difference, though the Heat did get a lot more. Heat left some meat on the bones with the free throws. They missed 9 of them, 11 of them actually. Terrible math by me. They missed 11 free throws. And that was a big source. The Heat were very aggressive. They were getting the free throw line. The Lakers, that's not usually their forte, but Miami was able to get the free throw line up. But they left, a lot there. But you do think about this game and you think like, hey, normal night, if you could hit half of those that you missed, and you could hit a couple more threes, all right, you're talking a game you could win. So it wasn't an unwinnable game for Miami by any means. Like, the opportunities were there, but there's just some frustrating things to watch at the end of it. And I think the thing that really just crushed is Miami does this great job getting all the way back in the fourth quarter because, they were really, really aggressive. They were able to finally get some stops. You are able to get some nice work from Bam Adebayo in the third quarter, and Jaime Jaquez just continues to be just an absolute demon. Him and Pelle Larsson had a really good thing going today with their chemistry, which was really cool. I mean, a lot of hit-ahead passes to each other, and it's interesting because I really thought of those two as like, hey, they're going to be vying for a lot of minutes because of all the injuries. We got to see them work a lot together, and there were some really good things with them today that you really, really liked. But it just ultimately, anytime the Heat felt like they were just clawing all the way back, it felt like LaRavia had a second chance opportunity, or he was just dynamic for them today. Really, really a pain in the butt for Miami. They just couldn't seem to find anybody to match his energy, and that was the frustrating thing. There was never they just never were able to get there all the way. Almost a bunch of times, but never quite all the way. The and I think the unfortunate thing that you'll look from this game is the young bigs. There's going to be roller coasters. There's going to be lessons. I got a lot of people who are rats off a ship already on social media. They're like, Jović stinks. Ware stinks. And I'm just like, it's game 6. I'm not writing anybody off yet. I think you saw the growth from there. There was a one point in this game where Nico started the fourth quarter. He like short circuited. Like, I was just like, he had an open 3 and he just like, I'm just like, whoa, dude, what's going on there? And I don't know what happened. I don't know if somebody yelled at him. I don't know what happened, but like, he then comes back, got a really great putback off a missed Drew Smith 3. Drew Smith, shout out. He had some really big moments today in this game as well. He had a rip off of Luka for a bucket, hit some clutch threes, really, not scared. But then Nico found a really pretty pass to Kel'el Ware for a reverse alley-oop. And JJ Redick, lost his mind. Warmed my heart. I like to see podcast boy get upset. So that was a good thing. But, after that, it was like a LaRavia. So the Heat got it to like within 3. They come right out of the timeout. LaRavia gets a dunk. Fontecchio misses a runner. Luka gets a bucket. And you're just like, right? Then Nico hits a 3, gets it back to 4. Reeves and Fontecchio share missed 3s. Then you get an offensive foul. Jović missed another 3. And then Bronny kicks it to Marcus Smart, and Smart puts the Lakers up 7. You're just like, ugh, I got to deal with this right now. That didn't feel great. Davion Mitchell would go at Bronny James. He get it to within 5. And then the killer was Nico gets on the fast break. He goes 1 or 2 from the free throw line, gets it to a 4-point game, and then Reeves comes down the other end as he's falling down, hits a tough bucket. Oh, it was brutal. And that one hits, puts him up 6. Wiggins comes back, gets a miss, and LaRavia willy-nilly slam, puts him up 8. Heat call timeout, and you're just like, oof. All right. So then Jaquez comes in for Jović, and Mitchell gets fouled by Bronny James. Ghost line misses them both. And LaRavia, Luka and LaRavia would get back-to-back buckets, and that was all she wrote. It was over. Bam and Wiggins had a couple of 3 looks. Neither of them hit. And it was a rough one. But, yeah, in this game, man, the first quarter was crazy. I mean, they just couldn't. The Heat got down really big, really early. They were down like 12-2 off like Jackson Hayes putbacks and slams, and he was like, "All right." So the Heat were going uphill immediately on this one, trying to get their way back, and any mistake, the Lakers just capitalized. And they closed that first quarter with a big lead on Miami. And you're just like, it was frustrating. 43 points in the first quarter. I know so much has been about the offense, and this wasn't like the prettiest offensive game in the world by any means. Jaime, still a demon. I mean, 31 points for him. Continues to have this revolutionary game, but that he didn't have Norman Powell again today. Not throwing it up as an excuse, just saying what it is. It sounds like he'll be back for the revenge game against the Clippers, which, look, I said going into this trip, if you could get 2-2, you'd take it for sure. But I always am skeptical that he will win that Denver game. So now it feels like, now I'm worried that like you have to win this game tomorrow to salvage any wins on the trip. And that's a big ask. And like the Lakers, look, they've dealt with their own adversity and they're 5-2. So I'm not going to sit here crying about it. Miami still working some things out for sure. They got young guys who they're going to ride the wave with, and there's going to be roller coasters. I think if I was to look at anything in this fourth quarter, I would say like it's one of those classic fourth quarters where Bam just like is just the forgotten man, and he gets 2 shots, and you're just like, there's got to be a better way to getting him the basketball. There has to be. Like, he's been their leading scorer this year, and there's just too many times where he just falls out of the usage of this team in the fourth. It's happened too many times in his Heat career, and it sucked. It sucked to see that, and I'm miffed. Wiggins had a scoreless fourth quarter as well, so those guys had pretty solid games up to that point. And you got a goose egg from Fontecchio as well. Fontecchio has been so good for Miami. He couldn't hit anything in the fourth quarter, so pretty brutal. They were 1 of 9. Look at it now. They were 1 of 9 from downtown in the fourth, and the free throws 1 of 6. So, it's not a game they couldn't have won. It wasn't the most perfect game in the world. They put themselves in position, but you got to execute and you got to take advantage of what was working with you in that game. And unfortunately, it wasn't there tonight. I'm sure this is going to be one of those games where Erik Spoelstra is going to be telling his young bigs they gotta be up to the challenge, and they certainly do. You can see when Kel'el Ware is a deterrent at the rim, like it's a big help, and it hasn't been there enough in this season, and he had a really good second stint to get himself, to at least, I feel like, ease some of the tension of what his year has been so far. And Nico the same way. Like they were a bright spot in that fourth quarter after they were not in this game. But Miami just wasn't able to put it all together. Luka Dončić really good. What did he finish with today? There was that one play where he cooked Bam. Just whew. He put him on the dance floor. That was insanely sick by Luka Dončić. He finished with 29 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists, had 3 steals. There was a big momentum swing in the first half where he got a 3 in Bam's face and then had a steal and score, and I was like, "Ooh, Luka was Luka's getting it done on both ends. What is this game? Crazy, man, crazy." So you hope you get Norm back. Maybe if Noah LaRoche, does he got any defensive specialties? That would have helped tonight. That could have worked a little bit. But yeah, I think the Heat will be kicking themselves a little bit with this one because got off to such a slow start. Felt like you were almost there, just never could get it over the line. Lakers made some big shots. Their guys showed up today too, so you got to give credit. Marcus Smart was huge for them in big moments today. And, LaRavia was big off the bench, and so, he kind of negated what Jaime brought, and too little too late, I think, from the rest of the Heat guys. So, big one coming up tomorrow night. I think the Heat really, really need that one. I'd like to see, coming off the back-to-back, but I'm not going to give them that too much of a pass on that because, especially if they get Powell back, that'll be a big boost, and they've been in LA. They haven't been traveling. So it's not like the Heat have been globetrotting here. It's a back-to-back in LA against the Clippers. So we'll see if they can get it done and put themselves in a position to split the trip. But 2 losses so far on this road trip that have been within your grasp and you couldn't get it. So feels a little frustrating to come up short there. But alas, it is game 6. We will not make any sweeping judgments, even if our Twitter mentions are.